Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at Talisman Prologue, which was just released on iOS today. It's been available on PC and Mac for a while, but now we have this iOS version that we can check out on either iPad or iPhone. This classic roll and move board game is loved by board game lovers as well as people that just played it as they were kids. So let's take a look at the app and see how it appeals to those as well as perhaps new audiences. Talisman is a classic board game that would pit players against each other to try and complete a common goal, perhaps that was defeat a dragon or become the king of the land. In this new version, it is completely single player at this moment, and the game focuses on different missions. So your goal is to complete a certain mission that's determined by the game as quickly as possible. As you journey through the game, you will draw from an adventure deck. This adventure deck has custom cards for each mission that can either help or hurt you depending on the mission. So you will see some of the cards over again. They're not all unique. However, they are given in a specific order and a specific allotment in each mission to allow that mission to have a specific focus. There is combat in the game, which, just like moving, is done with dice. In this case, with the warrior, he rolls 2 dice, picks the highest, and adds it to his strength value. The player with the highest strength wins the battle, and once you defeat a monster, it goes into your trophy section. If you have 7 points worth of trophies, you can cash them in for an extra strength or craft, depending on the type of monsters you cash in. The missions that you do have specific focuses, so there are choices you can make that can help you do them better, but Talisman at its core is just a game of rolling and seeing what happens. This kind of works well on iOS because you don't have to put a lot of energy into focusing on the game while you're on the bus or doing something else, but you can just kind of play and see what happens to your poor adventurer. The mission structure also allows the developers to stack things against you in some cases. For example, here you're having to fight 3 bandits at once, and their abilities stack together so they are harder to defeat. These sort of thematic missions sometimes are somewhat annoying because you're randomly trying to land on a certain spot, but at the same time they also hold some interest as they allow you to have a unique experience each time and allow sort of short play sessions rather than the full-on game. After you complete a mission, the game will give you a score of 1 to 3 talismans. This is based on how quickly you completed the mission. After you complete the mission, you also will unlock the next mission for that character, as well as a new character to try. Speaking of characters, this version of Talisman features the characters you would find in the full version of Talisman. The interesting part here is that while each character is different, their missions are also different, so each mission can be tailored to fit the character that is featured in it, which is a very interesting way to add depth to the single-player experience. I have been known to complain about literal adaptations of board games, and this is one that takes some things very literally. The board looks like the board. The miniatures are even unpainted and look like actual miniatures. Here you have some interesting touches though. The game zooms in on the different squares and can be shown at different angles. When you zoom in on a square, it's put in focus while those things around it are out of focus. This sort of middle ground between a direct translation with some nice touches is really something that I enjoy, even though I do not usually like such a literal translation of a board game. I think the goal here really was to attract those that played this game back in the 80s with a literal version of the game to give you that nostalgia feeling, while at the same time taking advantages of the platform by making the game look really sleek and adding things that you really couldn't do in a physical version, like a sentinel that towers over the board and things like that. My biggest complaint with the game is while we're looking at a single player experience, the randomness of Talisman is even more apparent than it usually is. That does not completely hold back the game, but if you don't like Talisman as it is now, this single-player version is not necessarily going to improve your opinion of the game. If you are a fan of Talisman, or even just enjoyed playing it in the 80s, this is definitely for you. It's not a high price to pay to relive that nostalgia, and they've really tried to hold true to what you really loved about the game. The art is original, the character is original, all of that is there to remind you of why you loved playing it, and it's done in a very sleek iOS package. The game is a solid 4 out of 5 for me. I think it's an excellent, fun game, and I look forward to see what will come as they add multiplayer and other options to the game. I really enjoy the single-player experience as it is now, and it really is a fun way to enjoy Talisman all over again.